don't listen to the semantic chatterbox so much, right? There's levels of you that are far wiser than that. And you can watch what happens to you instead of noticing what you think. And that's another thing I always did with my clients, especially if they're depressed. It's like, well, let's watch you for a week and let's see when you're not so depressed. What are you doing when you're not so depressed? Now, for some people who had an endogenous depression, they were just depressed all the time. And sometimes an antidepressant was a good solution to that. But for people who were situationally depressed, which is equally common, let's say, there'd be quite a bit of variation in their mood. And say, well, it turns out that I'm not so depressed when I'm with so-and-so. It's like, okay, well, why? And more importantly, how can we do more of that? And when were you more depressed? Well, when I'm alone in my room, brooding. Okay, well, how about you spend 10% less time this week alone in your room? Like, we'll introduce 10%, let's say. So you're awake for 16 hours, so that's an hour. Now we'd probably go for 5%, half an hour. That's a hell of an improvement over 20 weeks, right? Because that would be 100% less time doing counterproductive brooding. It's like, well, maybe you could go for a 5-minute walk every day this week. Or maybe a 2-minute walk, Or maybe you go in the living room instead of your bedroom if you can't manage the walk. And so that's part of that collaborative empiricism too, right? Let's find out when your life isn't announcing itself to you as meaningless. And virtually no one feels the absence of meaning all the time. Even nihilistic punk rockers like going to the local bar and smashing into each other in the mosh pit. So I know that's a dated reference, but you get what I mean.